Let me mute myself.
Hey, my God is good. Come on, y'all. My God is good. Hey, my God is good. Let's welcome my friend.
There's no place.
For you have been my help from mountain level.
You're bringing our African version in. Yes. Please don't turn into Roderick tonight.
What?
Don't
Oh,
turn
yeah.
into Roderick.
All right, John is here still, though, so, you know.
So you giving us African flavor tonight instead of Caribbean flavor?
That's what the thing said, man. I give some African flavor to Jamaican flavor, Caribbean, all over.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome everybody to the village. Another week, another greatness, right? We're here on the village live again. Welcome. This is Andre, producer. Got John Sampson right here, co-host Joanne Bryant, Dr. Joanne Bryant, also co-host. Roderick will be coming soon, of course, and Sophia Willisey also co-producer. You can listen to the village live on gdradio.org, 92.1 FM, Radio Jamaica, Florida and the Bronx, Gospel JA. You can also tune in on Facebook, Roderick F. Daily, Dr. Joanne Bryant, The Village on Facebook as well, and even the YouTube, The Village Talk Show. You can call in at 718-841-9980 to just have a conversation or have any question. You can listen in as well by calling 515-605-5349. The Village, dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life, helping each one of us in realizing our dreams at any age, any point, starting from today. Success is not just spoken, it is done. What are you doing to make sure that's the case for you? Welcome, peeps. Great week. Well, feeling like it's a great week. I mean, earlier today I was feeling like a little dozy, but I'm feeling better right now.
What are you feeling dozy about, man?
I don't know, man. It's summer coming, trying to get students still to put in somewhere, but at the same time the conversation. So, it is what it is. Still trying to keep the energy.
Summer's here. We finally got some hot weather, string of hot weather. Most of all, the things are getting back to normal, but we should not rush it. Those who are vaccinated, we're out there. How you doing, Doc?
How are you?
It's very important that Andre, man, you get back into the grind, And we got life. Life is beautiful. It's a beautiful day. I have the doctor on here this evening. I'm all mixed up, Doc.
This evening.
Early evening.
Yes.
And we're waiting for our other co-host, Mr. Daly. Mr. Daly's always doing something. So we have to go on. He can catch up to us later on. So, Doc, how you been?
I am great. I'm enjoying this wonderful weather. So
How you enjoying this weather?
Oh, listen, the sun is bright. I'm going outside. It's not raining. Yesterday it was.
Right.
I can get some fresh air, which is always important. And I don't have to put a coat on. So this is my season. I'm a summer baby all the way. So this is it.
You're a summer baby? So So you were born during the summertime?
I am a June baby all the way.
What's the date of birth? What's your born day?
June 15th.
Oh, I'm the 17th. Ah, we're
See
we're
the
we're
two
we're,
J's?
we're, we're
Oh,
blessed.
you
We're
know,
blessed.
June is the best. Yeah.
And it's a great thing. It's warming up, and hopefully the numbers continue to go down. But if you look at what's going on, in the world, in the world cases with respect to COVID are about 169 million.
Mhm.
We have over 3 million deaths. In the U.S. is leading the world in cases with 33 million, and we're talking about at a death rate of 600 to 6,000. However, the numbers have been going down. This time last year,
Wow.
there was still so much uncertainty going on, and we were concerned, and we didn't know what to do, and people were just caught in, it's like just amazed as to what was going on, couldn't comprehend, tried to comprehend. But one thing it did for us, it really was an example how pre-existing conditions play such a role in something
That is
like
true.
this. Heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, those underlying conditions and the impact the virus had on them. So,
And going to the doctor. And a lot of people would not go to the gym or work out or whatever, but the importance of making sure that you take care of yourself, not only your physical self, but your mental health is so important as well. I think this pandemic have really opened the door to mental health and people being able to feel comfortable to say, hey, you know what? I'm not okay. And there's no stigma attached to it, which is great. But we need more and more people to do that. If something is wrong, if you're depressed, or if you're thinking a little psychotic, reach out to someone and let them know. If you feel like picking up a gun or something like that, please speak to someone before you do anything tragic. Look what happened in California.
Doc, and that's the point we're talking about. If you look in the city here and look throughout the country, the spike in shootings, what are we to do? Do we bring back stop and frisk? Or what do we do in order to try to bring down the numbers of the proliferation of guns in our communities? What do we do? You see what they were trying to do with getting people to get vaccines. They had all these things going on, such as, they were offering a scholarship for getting a COVID shot. Como was saying, there's 50 teens living in the States would get scholarships. Also, we had the Vax and Scratch program. You buy a $20 bill, all of a sudden you're in the lottery. But those are things that trying to get people to be proactive and get vaccinated. And I won't go there because I know how you feel about it, but we'll go there later because we got to go there later. The shooting, what's going on?
Right. There's no plan in place. Right.
People going to work. This disgruntled employee, and look, 8 people are dead, including the shooter. These guns, where are they coming? Look in New York. What's going on?
You know what? The sad thing is, I was looking earlier. I think it was 62 shootings so far.
Right.
And I hope that wasn't for this month, but it's just the amount of shooting is ridiculous. And the summer really hasn't started yet. So I don't want people to use, hey, we were cooped up and that's the reason why we want to go wild. But that's not the reason to go and kill people or shoot people off. That doesn't make any type of sense at all. Like I mentioned, if there's warning signs, like his wife, the gentleman who ended up killing those 9 individuals, his wife was like, yeah, he was talking crazy. Right then and there, that's a sign. Maybe you should reach out and get some help for him. Wow. Or maybe you should contact such and such. And they even said that he was released because they did some investigation. He was on a terrorist thing or whatever. If it was us, that was
hello. I didn't want to go there, Doc. Why you going there, Doc? Why you going there? All right, I'll go there with you. We know if it was us, we wouldn't have been able to say boo. We'd have
No,
been locked up, arrested, thrown away the key, even before anything happened, and going under some sort of psychiatric evaluation to
right.
keep us in until they felt that everything was copacetic. But it's unfortunate that society views us that way. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Make no bones about it. And it's become obvious. Everybody now, it's criminal justice, reform. We were talking about this decades ago. We talked about, decades ago, Abner Louima.
Wait, what about Tulsa? Right
Oh.
now, that's a conversational piece.
Yes.
Because now, hey, it's out there. People were afraid to talk about it. But Tulsa, what's happening? They're finding bodies. People are stepping up or whatever. The scare tactic is, to eliminate a whole area. It's just amazing to me.
It's like the birth of a nation. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hold on. Are we talking about apocalypse? What are we talking about here? We're talking about the book of Revelations. What
Right.
are we talking about here?
Right.
And
Right.
most of all, what are the elected officials are going to do about it? And that leads me into what's up with the mayor's race? What they going to do about this going on in here? Hey, what's going on with our mayoral candidates and what they're going to do about crime, education? What about the being safe on the subway? And
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. Now, it was mentioned that there would be a certain amount of police officers in the subway, and all these crimes are still taking place every day. And to find out that it's only 400 around 300 to 400 cops when they promise a certain amount, hey, you're pushing to open up the city in every way. You're closing roads down and putting, bike lanes and bus lanes and everything, and everyone should take public transportation. But that same energy should go into safety as well. And that's not happening. Especially those walking in the street. There was a gentleman, a delivery guy, who was walking in the street and he got hit in the back of his head. And people think it's funny going around hurting people. There's no sense in that. You can't tell me it's mental health. I think it's just, follow the leader. You see this idiot doing something, so you decide you're going to follow.
There's mental health and,
there's copycats too.
Doc, but you're talking my language. It's about being safe in the streets. And, you got one mayoral candidate who's been talking about that. There's no reason that we can't have safe streets and still have justice, and that's mayoral candidate, Borough President Eric Adams, and you see the jockeying between Borough President Adams and Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang seems to be slipping a little in the polls. You see Catherine Garcia. There was a poll where Catherine Garcia was ahead by 1 point, pretty much in the margin of error is pretty much a tie between her. But this is just this one poll where there's only 571 people who were surveyed out of 8 million people in New York City. However, a poll is a poll. That's why the only poll I really believe in is on election day. And you could check the temperature of the people in the communities by, if I'm out there, I've been out there, I know what's going on, I can check the temperature. So, you just busy. I don't want to get caught up in these polls. Maybe you might want to, Doc, but I don't want to. But there's one candidate who's just been talking about this whole, we can't have economic prosperity if we don't feel safe. We're not going to come out. We're not going to ride the subways. We're not going to go to the theater district, because if I have to worry about somebody hitting me in the back of my head just because who I am walking down the street, or all the bias crimes against Asian individuals in our communities, what are we going to do? So to the mayoral candidates, and I know you don't have a favorite candidate. Your thing about
not yet.
About the issues. Mine is also about the issues, but Mr. Adams has been talking about this issue for a long time. There's no reason why we can't have justice and safety. You know, you just talk about defund the police, and you know what? Our communities are going to be hit the worst. And let's be frank, and we know that's what's going to happen. I think at the same time, you know, New York is the economic engine of the world. Wall Street, we have the titans, but we need to make that we need to make it work, but not only work for everybody. Everybody needs to share into the American dream.
You know what? I'm I agree with you 100%. One thing I'm disappointed about, yes, everybody wants to be in charge, but I want to see what they're doing now until then. What steps are you putting in place? What program are you putting in place? How are you, for me, talk is cheap. I need to see some action. What is being done? Yes, I want to rally over here, support me, do this and do that and vote for me. But what are you doing up until the race? I don't want to wait until next year to see what potential mayor person, whoever we decide to vote for. What are
That's why
I'm just so disappointed. I'm
that's
so
why
disappointed.
you go on someone's record. That's why you look at the record. You know, if you look
I
at
want to see action now.
I,
Forget the record. I
but-
want to
but-
see what are they doing
right.
for the crimes in the subway? What are they doing for the homelessness? What, everybody want to talk about this great plan that they have. Put the plan now. Put it in place now. My thing is, let's start it. Let's see how it's going. And then by the time the race time come, we'll, see
Well,
who's the
Dr.
best.
Races and its early voting starts June 12th.
I know, but
June
guess what?
22nd.
From now until 2 weeks or 3 weeks, guess what? They have time.
And they got the debate next week, so we're gonna see what the plan is and how this plan is going to be implemented. But it's always good to make sure that, well, in order to make a decision, you gotta look at the record, Doc. So, I just bring that to your attention, so we can pay close attention to what's going on in our communities. These mayoral candidates want to be the next mayor of New York City.
The Republican had theirs last night.
Ooh, tell me something about that. Tell me something
That
about that.
that was hilarious to me because I'm like, okay,
Fiery. Wasn't that fiery?
it was. But I am so sick of people who are claiming they're going to do all these major changes, make all these major changes. I call that air, and I'm tired of listening to air. False promises and all these. You never see these people doing anything else but just coming on or whatever. I'm just over it now.
Doc, I'm over it. I can see you over it. I can see your disgust. But one thing I know that will always make you happy when we talk about education.
That is.
Education and
We're going back to school full time.
yeah.
In
What do you think about that, Doc?
September full time back opening up. I don't know.
What about that?
Well, I've been in school all year so far.
Yeah.
So
Mask on, I hope.
I have had a mask on the entire time. Yes.
Don't you do anything?
I
got my mask right here, Doc. Where's your mask?
somewhere. Somewhere. I'm home, so I don't have no problem. I'm home, so I have no problem at all. But here's the thing. When we get back to school, we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Because parents are wonderful, but they're not teachers.
That's true.
And parents who have young children who want their kids to succeed, that's what we want. We want everyone to push their kids to keep going, but then they get burned out or they want to do the work for them.
Right.
The problem is when your child come in, of course, we know the truth as educators, but when they're coming in kindergarten and here it is, they're scoring as though they're in 5th grade, something's wrong with that.
But there's always been something wrong with that. But that's why parents should be given an option. They should be given an option. And you know what option I'm talking about, Doc?
To choose where they place their kids? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Choose where they place their kids. Give them a voucher or chartered schools. It's opportunity. It's all about educational opportunity. When something isn't, if something is broke, we have to fix it. We can't keep throwing money at it. But I think the one way we can do, because I'm a product of the public school education, and I believe that's the best educational system in the world.
I am as well.
But we should give a lot more discretion to our superintendents, our teachers, because they know the pulse of what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
children and the community. Because
Mm-hmm.
once that money comes in from the federal government, from the state, goes to that big entity called the Department of Education. I call that the black hole,
Why?
because you don't know where the money's going. Where's the money going? What district is it going to? What school is it going to? The book. I mean, there should be a direct.
There is a calculation. There is something that they use.
Let me ask you a question. Who make the calculations up?
Well, you know what? The state allocates a certain amount per child. So attendance, your enrollment, all that is taken into play on how much money and funding you receive.
But this community.
Also the poverty level, how many students are in shelters, those who are displaced. So there's a lot of things that is taken into account to say that, hey, you want to allocate money to all the different districts or all. No, not everybody.
I think we should talk about bringing back community school boards. What do you think?
No.
Why not?
Mm-mm. Because in everything, there's issues and problems and politics and this and that. And it's good to have the community involved. It's always wonderful to have the community involved in every level, but we want to go forward and not backwards.
Oh, so you're saying community school?
Let's go forward. Let's see what was working then. Because remember, hiring had to go through the community board. You had to go to the district in order to get hired. The principal, the same thing. You know, it was just so many different levels. Right now, we're at a different
patronage
space.
going on, huh?
We're all at a different place.
Yeah.
Different space, different place. So that's important, John. That's important. We're going forward. We're not going back to the 1980s, 1970s, 1990s. We are in 2021.
Yeah, we're in 2020. But look what's going on in 2021, Doc. So we need to.
But wait. You cannot say that it is public school. It is no one expected the pandemic to set us back. It is a true setback on education overall. We were not prepared for this.
So it showed you you're not prepared.
No, we were not.
Mean?
First of all, technology level was not in the way that we were. Half of the teachers were not. And that's the truth. I'm going to say that. Kids, parents, and everyone, we were not prepared. It was a shock to many. You know, many of these teachers were not using technology. And then to say children are expected to go on and say, hey, you know what? Let's start doing this.
The 5 P's. The 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
But listen.
Come on.
As a district, I'm going to say we were not prepared because we were not expecting that. The only concern I have
is...
is...
schools were prepared.
Not all.
Come on.
I'm gonna use the example.
Come on.
There's some.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna stay with state. And they're predominantly charter school run. They were not prepared. They did not even have computers for their kids. So you cannot say that all charter schools were prepared. No. I don't think there's any school that was really prepared for what was about to come.
Better contingency plan than we did in public school.
Some, not all, but some. I can say that for sure. Some, but not all. Thank you, Sonia. I agree.
Come on,
not all.
I know she put you up to say that, Sonia. Come on, Sonia.
It's true because
you agree, Sonia. Come on now. We were not prepared.
No, we were not. And you know what? I'll be. As an educator, I was not prepared for what took place. No, but because I spent most of my life online working virtually, I was a lot more ahead of some people. Definitely. Doing degrees online, working and spending 12 years drastically doing writing and research. My daughter never had to type anything. She would write a report and her mama would be the one typing and give it to me. Let me do it. So for her to say, for in March to say, hey, we're going to log in. Uh, surprise, surprise. That was a shock.
Doc, but you got to admit, some charter schools are better prepared. But why are people so against charter schools?
It's not that we are against charter schools.
So what is it then? What is it?
I would say what people are upset about is the same rules don't apply to each. Public schools are held at a much more difficult the blame game. I would say that. Hey, public school is not doing this, they're not doing that, they're not, but certain rules don't apply. The same rules don't apply to all. That's where the problem come in. Hey, if I am in a co-location place and I'm in a charter school, and the public school is right downstairs, and your school look like, hey, it's the best of the best.
I've been hearing that long time, and
no, it's true. You go in, you go into a school building that co-locates. There's definitely.
But why is that, Doc? Why?
Money. Certain funding. Charter school receive public and private funding.
But they don't have no more money than the Department of Education, and that's where it comes down to the division.
I don't know about that, John. I don't know about that. I might have to disagree with you with that. I completely. And then they have technology that we did not receive from public funding.
Public funding. So then that means, but you got billions. The Department of Education gets billions of dollars.
Wait.
You're telling me that their charter schools are better funded than Department of Education?
Department of Education has more students.
I agree, but it's also the money that they allocate and the priority they put in.
And here's the thing. Here's another thing. Department of Education cannot reject children. Charter school can. And like Sonia just mentioned, the pandemic forced.
I know she gave you something, Sonia.
Yeah.
Come on, agree with me. Somebody agree with me out there. Somebody come on and agree with me.
The pandemic forced New York City DOE to finally move into the 21st century. Yes, it is true. 100%. We did not have the technology. We did not. We did not.
Billions. No tech.
But we didn't. Billions. We were still working back then.
Charter school with less money.
Here's the thing. Charter school have more parent engagement.
Why is that?
I guess that's part of their rules. I don't know. They receive public
too. The parents should be engaged there too.
And private funding. And guess what? Certain things they do not have to deal with, which is true.
Like what? Like the union?
One of the problems they were having.
Union?
Wait. No.
Like the union?
That has nothing to do with the union. That have nothing. Yes, there is a union or whatever. But here's the thing. Special ed. If they decide they have special ed students, they will harass you until that's why they won. There was a lawsuit. Hey, they will harass you until you get out or they force you out after they receive the funding. Now, ESL students, if they're not meeting the mark, guess what? They're going to force you out. Not all charter schools. I'm going to say that.
Thank you, Doc.
But
I was about
to have lawsuits to say that? So no. They're not producing more than some of the public schools. Some people would say that, but it's not true.
One thing, and I'm all in support of the union, UFT. I always admired the leadership of Michael Mulgrew and his commitment to the union, to those professionals that he advocates for. And Mike has always been a reasonable person. I think a lot has to, my major conscience or bone to pick is at the Department of Education, and how these funds are
allocated.
And what's really concerning to me is the not only the way the pandemic just showed how out of touch the Department of Education was, but it shows you how the the health and the effect of the pandemic had
Mhm.
the health and the pandemic just put on blast, you know, our educational systems, but most of all, our health
That's true.
and how important it is for us to lead healthy lives. And that comes down to being better educated as to the impact health has on all aspects of our lives.
That is true. That is true.
You know, so it's just very concerning uh, regarding our health, and I've just seen so many people just succumb to. So, what do you think? What do you think about that whole aspect, about the health aspect? How the whole pandemic just really just our eyes to our
You know what?
overall
It
health.
it is definitely we're more aware of at-risk people. Um, and it's sad because I had so many people who passed away during this pandemic, from anything, from asthma, from um, being overweight, from underlying condition that they didn't even know that they had. Um, so paying more attention to health is important. I'm guilty of that too. I'm as guilty as can be. Before the pandemic, I was back in the gym trying to get my sexy on.
Oh,
But
Doc.
no, 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 no. I actually definitely was overweight. And I wanted to lose weight. But I became more conscious. Um, I kept looking at myself and saying, no, eventually next year I'll go to, the beach or whatever, because I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. And I said, okay, finally, Joanne, you're going to have to, you keep saying it. You're doing this, you're doing that, but, make a change. And I committed myself to signing up, going to the gym, and I lost 20 pounds.
Oh,
Good about that.
Doc, it's just like we talk about the village. Our village, it's about community, it's about empowerment, it's about
Mhm.
development. And, we're dedicated to the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life, helping each one of us realize our dreams at our age, at any point, sharing from day to day. As we always say, success is
Hmm.
not just spoken, it is done, Doc. And you did it, Doc.
Yes. So
You
I
dropped those
cannot
20
wait,
pounds.
wait,
Drop those
wait.
20 pounds. So that's
Yeah,
where you can run with me, Doc. I run every other day. I run 3-4 miles. So you got to come
I'm
join
I'm
me,
I'm
Doc.
I'm not I'm running like that because I actually have asthma. I can't be outside
Oh,
in the
gosh.
in,
All
I
out now.
can't be outside. No, seriously, right now, this weather is a problem for me. So if I mute, it's because I'm pumping. Unfortunately, I have severe allergies, and especially to the pollen and environment.
Doc,
But
but Doc, you know that we have a special guest
yes,
coming
I
on.
cannot wait.
Yeah, and I want you to introduce that special guest because it coincides with what we're talking about. Your loss of 20 pounds and the health, just living a healthy life. Just and it's all about we are what we eat. So
Yes,
I love to eat,
I
but I can't eat as
cannot.
much as I used to.
You can't eat everything.
So Doc, who we got coming on with us?
Oh my goodness. I cannot wait for this beautiful individual to meet this beautiful individual, Miss Donna Budai. Oh,
Donna, come on in.
Yes, hi,
hello.
how are you? Nice to meet you
Hello,
guys.
hello,
Nice,
beautiful.
man. How you doing?
We are doing great,
Doing
great,
well,
great.
Donna. We're
It
doing
is
well.
so nice to meet you.
Okay, great. I'm glad to see John also.
Oh, Donna, thank you very much. I was away for a little while, but I'm back now doing what I need to do.
I'm glad about that. I'm glad to see you. Great. It's
Donna,
nice to
thank
be here, actually. I must thank you all for the opportunity to be on this particular platform to talk about health issues. Ms. Joanna, you're going to introduce me as to what you want to talk about me?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I actually want you to introduce yourself.
Hey, Donna, introduce yourself, Donna. Come on.
You
Okay.
are a wealth of
Okay.
knowledge.
All right. My name is Donna Budai. That's the spelling, Budai. Okay. My
Tell her
name
where
is
you from, Donna. Tell her where you from.
Okay. I'm from Jamaica, but I'm American citizen, of course.
All right.
I've been here in this country for over 40 years. So,
God bless.
I've done it practically all my life. I'm now retired recently and just enjoying
Yes.
every moment of it. Yes. A little bit about myself. Well, I'm a mother of 3 children, including twins. And I heard you talking about the education system. And my kids went through the system, my 11. So I sort of
I
have,
11 in the house. All
yeah.
right. I
And I
love
was
that.
actually a past PTA president, by the way,
Yeah.
and I was all over in the schools. I actually worked in school health for a number of years or so. But just going back to where I came from about schools. Schools are complicated. Public schools are complicated. They don't have the same resources as the charter schools. And it really takes parental involvement. And it's not a matter that parents don't want to be involved. It's all the issues and complications that they have to deal with in the workplace as well to make sure that the kids are fed, that they have a roof over their head. So it's beyond just saying that parents are not involved. But there are lots of other options for charter parents, so parents who have their children in charter schools. They have no choice because their kids will be kicked out of their schools. So again, the responsibility is really on parents. They need to take part in all the activities of their for their families and their children, because without that, there's not going to be a success experience.
And Donna,
That's my thought on that.
You know what you
and
just
Donna,
said?
you hit it right. You hit it right there, and that's why not only education but also the health.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait. I want to
Sorry,
go
Donna.
back.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry about that. You said if they're in charter schools, parents are not involved. They're going to get
No, they
kicked out.
are.
See, we can't do that in public school. We cannot get rid of any child. We cannot kick any child out. We have to. There is no, you know what?
I don't know about that. I used to get kicked out. They kicked me out.
Well, they kick you
Well,
to
there are
where? What were you doing? What were you doing? Okay.
There are consequences. There are consequences for that. But let's go back to health and a little bit about me.
Yeah.
As I said, I've been a dietitian for the past over 30 years.
That's why you look so good, Don. That's why you look so good.
Right.
Really,
And she's
thank you.
retiring, enjoying the good life of retirement.
No, well, it's in the genes. I've had a lot of experience in terms of covering different areas throughout my career. I've done things I've worked in clinical, in community health, and I've done supervisory and administrative in the work in that capacity. I've also done a lot of advocacy and representation for American Diabetes Association, the Heart Association, the Cancer Association, the Cancer Association as well. I've done public health education all over throughout the city. I've done staff training development in nutrition education. I've been a food service manager. That's what my first degree was in, food service management, from a local LaGuardia Community College. That's where I started off when I came to this country.
What I want to ask you is one thing that there always seems that there's this stigma or there's this myth that we don't engage in healthy eating in our communities. Why is that? Why do we? If you look in our communities, you got fast foods. We don't have the salad bars. I mean, what's up with that?
Well, listen, going right back to where I came from and when I started studying nutrition, I realized that in our communities, such as in Brooklyn, that's where I'm from, I live, that you always find fast foods being put up in our communities at every corner. And I used to wonder why it is that this is in our communities and why not somewhere else. And it all goes right back to the community boards too, and the politicians and all these people who make these decisions. So I don't care who you are, and I'm going to say it right. This is what I'm saying. There needs to be a cap in our communities as to how many fast foods and liquor stores and all the things that our communities.
I like my drink. I like my drink.
I'm sorry. This is what is affecting our children, our parents, and we don't even have a appropriate exercise place or place that we can go exercise. We don't have proper parks. We don't have gyms and all that stuff in our community. And if it does come up, it's not very successful. It's all about making money, and it's all about just knocking up our people. You'll see the funeral parlor coming up at one corner, and then right across is the health center, and then you have about 3 or 4 fast food restaurants up along the route.
Donna, now this that's what you just talked about, the dynamics, that triangle. You got the funeral parlor, you got the health, then you got the fast food. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, how can what can we do to we talk about diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer, kidney disease. These things plague our communities. What can we do, or what preventive measures can we engage in to prevent us from going down that track and avoiding that Bermuda Triangle?
Well, again, as I say, it starts from us personally, and then we're going to go externally, right? Let me talk about the internal piece first. Okay. We have to educate ourselves from the beginning, starting from when they're babies or before you get the babies being pregnant, wherever it is. It's a family affair. That's where it all starts off. You need to know what are your numbers? How healthy are you? And you must ask yourself those questions. Do I have diabetes? Maybe I don't have diabetes because it never ran in my family, but do I go to a doctor to get preventive to see what's happening with me? Am I healthy? You have to ask the doctor, what is my A1C? Well, you know what A1C is? What's your blood sugar level? You have to ask, what's my BMI? Nobody doesn't know what the BMI is. What's your body mass index? How much I weigh? Am I weighing too much or am I weighing too little? What's my blood pressure? That's one of the most critical things, or the areas that everybody runs to. They're glad to take your blood pressure, not realizing also that if you're home, that your blood pressure may be down, but when you get to the doctor, the blood pressure is high. Why is that happening? They're scared, they're not worried, they're so anxious, you're so stressed out, it's high. And they start putting medications on you, and then that creates another problem. But my thing is this, you need to know what your numbers are. You need to know these numbers. Now, what does that mean to you? Because the doctors will say, oh, your blood pressure is normal, man. And he never even gives you the number. And you have to say, what is the exact number? Because you're not educated enough to ask him that question.
Donna, what is the exact number that we should be targeting?
Well, if you want to talk about numbers, knowing your numbers, your A1C should be less. I'm going to start as far back as less than 5.4, because pre-diabetes is one of the problems in our community, and a lot of people are not talking about it. But the reason why people died from so many people died from COVID was because they were not well managed. They did not have to die. So for A1Cs, it would be between 5.4, less than 5.4 to 7. Then they're in pre-diabetes phase, and about 7% is considered to be in that range where you're considered.
Hey, Donna, my A1C I took it was 4.6.
Excellent, John. Excellent. That is what we're looking for. So that's just a simple blood test that is done every 2 to 3 months, and the doctor should be able to at least give you that result and explain to you. They don't have time to talk to you, but if you go in with that knowledge that, I want to know what my ABCs are, then you can ask the proper question for the doctor. What's your BMI? They'll tell you, oh, your weight is normal, man, or you're overweight, but you don't know what is your normal weight. And these are some of the things that you need to know. What's your normal blood pressure? Normal blood pressure should be about less than, they have lowered the numbers from 120 over 80. That's what your normal should be. That's your targeted range. But most times you find people with blood pressures over 140 over 90, and sometimes 200 over 100. You don't even know that you're close to having a stroke. So these are simple things that you should be asking your doctor.
I like my cook-up rice. So I like my rice. I like my cook-up rice.
Right. It's
Enjoy
no
my
problem.
cooking rice.
I am more than willing to have you enjoy your cook up rice, because as a dietitian, I don't tell any of my clients or that they can't have anything that they want. You want to have your ice cream, go and have your ice cream, but it's how much that you eat. And you have to actually practice. I have 3 things that you need to remember. Remember, you must have balance in your meal plan. Balancing. You must have variety in the foods that you're eating. Or not must have, but try to have or try to attain that variety. Balance,
Give us an
variety.
example of that balance. Give us an example.
Let me go to the third part.
Okay.
Balance, variety, and moderation. Those are 3 key things you need to look for when you're planning your meals.
Say that again, Donna, so we can get that down.
Balance, variety, and moderation.
Boom.
3 key things. Just remember that in your head, and you'll never forget that. The next thing is this. What you talk about balance, why am I saying balance? We know we have the plate method right now, that we have dividing the plate into 3 parts or 4 parts or 3 parts, where you have half the plate is the vegetables. They can have a cooked vegetable or a raw vegetable. It could be salad or steamed vegetables or whatever it is, vegetables. The other third is meat. So like maybe, for instance, about 2 ounces of meat, which maybe like the palm of your hand is like about considered to be 2 ounces of meat. It could be maybe like a burger, which is a small burger. Look at your palm, and that would be the size of
That's
a
a
burger.
meatball in my palm, Donna. That's a meatball.
If you have meatballs, maybe like towards about 3 or 4 meatballs, that's fine. But small, moderation. And the meatballs, if they're big meatballs, it could be just 1 meatball. So you have to be careful as to how much you're eating. It could be, and then you have the starches, because that's where the problem is, the amount of starch that you're eating. It could be rice, potato, pasta, even the banana, the potatoes, all of those things have you should be eating in moderation.
Donna,
They do all have calories.
The bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Banana. Talked about that banana because, a lot of people from the Caribbean, we love bananas.
We love bananas. Yes, we love bananas. And usually a banana, which is 9 inches, that really the serving is, that's like, if you have a 9-inch banana, it's actually 2 servings, because 1 serving of a banana is half of a 9-inch banana. So that's a serving.
I didn't know that. I used to eat 2 or 3 bananas a day, not knowing how much sugar I was putting into my system. And I was like,
but usually sugar, let's talk about fruit. The fruit that you take, the number of servings of fruit for the day could be about 5 to 9 servings for the day. And the serving size could be a variety of things. For instance, you may want to have, let's say, strawberries, or you want to have grapes. It could be 10 small grapes or 4 strawberries, or it could be a small apple, like the size of a fist of your hand, if you have a small fist like mine. It could be something else that you're saying, maybe, whatever the fruit is, everything has a serving size, a portion. It's calculated to say how much carbs are, how much carbohydrates are in these foods. So that's where we need to do. There are lots of charts on the Google or the CDC or the American Diabetes Association or the American Dietetics Association. They do have charts. You can also Google this. They have carb trackers on websites. So, you shouldn't say, well, I don't know what the measurements are at any time. Okay, so again, you must remember serving sizes play an important role in how much food or how much carbs you get, how much protein you get in, and of course you have the other mega nutrient, which is the fat. So it's all of that in combination. 3 mega nutrients you should have: carbs, protein, the fat. But all the other micronutrients, vitamins, minerals are all a part of that meal. When you have that balanced meal, right? You're getting it from all of those in the plate measurement itself. So if you have your fruit, your vegetable, your starch, your meat, your milk, and again, water, of course, is one of the nutrients that we don't talk about it too much, but that's all a part of it. Okay, so just be aware of those basic stuff.
You know what I actually want you to share with us? What's the difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist?
Lord, as I said, when I went to school umpteen years ago, I used to want one of myself, who's dietitian or who's a nutritionist. What we would usually do, or they'll say /dietitian N, DN, dietitian nutritionist. So, but although dietitians and nutritionists both help people to find the best diets and foods to meet their health needs, they have different qualifications, and that's where it's different. In the United States, the dietitians are certified to treat clinical conditions, as I mentioned to you before, and whereas nutritionists are not always certified. That's the difference. And anyone can call themselves a nutritionist, but the term dietitian is tightly regulated. We are tightly regulated. Dietitians are officially credentialed by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, known formally as the American Dietetical Association. And again, we must remember that dietitians get formal training. They are supervised work hours in the field. We have to have continued education to maintain the licensure and the credentials, among other requirements. So that's the difference. And again, that's why dietitians can refer themselves as nutritionists, but nutritionists cannot call themselves dietitian. So you may see they have CDN or registered dietitian N. So it's all because of the level of training. I followed a AP4 track, was towards becoming a registered dietitian, and that was involving a lot of stuff. It was grandfathered in, and I said I don't really want it to be, I wanted to do public health nutrition, so I switched over at that time. I also have a master's degree in health and diseases, so I could work in the hospital in those times. But now they changed the credentialing and say, well, you need to do certain things, which I wasn't prepared to do because I didn't want to give up 1 year free and not be paid anymore. So again, it's really a field of study that is really intense, similar to being a doctor. And I'm telling you, now they're going to be asking for all dietitians who are now, I think they're giving them the RD license or credentialing, but they will have to have a master's in disease and nutrition by 2024. So now they're sort of figuring out that anybody who does it and gets a bachelor's, they're not qualified. And so now they're going towards having a master. So it's such a complicated field, to get credentialed in.
So it's all about the credentials.
It's all about the credentials. It's all about the credentials. And remember, as I said to you, nutritionist credentials, they are not as advanced as the RDs. Nutritionists can obtain credentials through other types of licensure, but they don't go through that extensive training as the dietitians do.
So Donna, being a dietitian, what are the common mistakes that individuals make when they talk about being on a diet, trying to lose weight? What, we talked about the balance, the variety, and the moderation. But what are the mistakes that we make trying to lose weight?
First of all, so who said we're making any mistakes? If you try any diet, you think it's gonna work, right? But that's not always true. The best mistakes you make, I don't think people are making mistakes. They're trying to just do the best as they can because, technically speaking, as I said, over the years, people have developed different, diets. And, some work, some didn't work. But our body is very funny. It has a system. There's a process. So the mistakes that we believe that if we're doing diets, we should not be jumping from one to the next and expecting them to work. They're not going to work because they're short term.
The best diet.
They're short term.
The best diet I know is called liposuction. That's the best
No.
diet.
Pay him no mind.
The best diet that I know is called the lifestyle change diet. It's a meal plan. And the lifestyle change diet or meal plan means that you're going to gradually work it by reducing your caloric intake or monitoring your weight, your intake, and exercising and balance. Remember, calories in means calories out, make you have maintain your weight. But if you want to lose weight, you have to do more exercise or lose more calories or use up that energy, and it will drop. So it's like we're playing numbers. Dietitians play a lot with numbers. It's all about the math, And if you don't know simple math, you may have some trouble. That's why they came up with this plate business. At least they know you can divide the plate into quarters, And so that's the issue. So again, as I say, one of the first problem is that it's a mistake is to think that diets work. Diets do not work because they're all short term. Long
Okay.
term is better than short term, whereby you're changing your lifestyle,
Lifestyle.
making
Yeah.
sure that you following the proper regimen and just gradually going through the process. I congratulate our host here, Joanne, because she lost 20 pounds and she went to the gym, and that was not. It's not very easy to do that. It's a process, right?
That's true.
It
I
is.
lost 50 pounds, so there you go, Doc.
If you
You
lost
know what?
50 pounds, that's even greater. And I do commend you for that. But
Yeah.
during COVID, a lot of people were gaining a lot of weight because they did not have the opportunity to go out and go walking and going to the gym and doing those things. And I even had actually gained another extra 5 to 6 pounds. And I'm having a hard time getting it off because as you get older, your metabolic rate slows down. And
Yes.
so it's going to be harder for you to lose those extra pounds. So you have to work extra hard. So I found myself doing some Zumba in the radio, the TV, and I'm trying to my best. And I'm saying, I don't have that willpower. So kudos to you.
Mm.
You
I
need
have a
to,
trainer that's beating my butt left and right, but he's awesome in doing it. But like you mentioned, it's the lifestyle change. So
it's a
I am
life.
a pasta eater, and I had to actually get rid of pasta as much as possible and try to switch over. Not I eat it less than I would because every day I was eating pasta and I had to stop it. And sugar is a big problem for me, and especially having diabetic parents. So I'm trying to make more safe decisions and be more cautious on what I eat and take in. So that's important to me. And I want to be better than I was when I was 18. So that's my goal,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
So I want to be better than I was when I was younger. And the older you get, you should be as fine wine. And Lord knows, I want to be, you know, I want to be better the older I get. I want strength training to be a portion of my life. I do not want to get older and say, okay, I can barely stand up. No. I admire people who actually are older and are in physical, great physical fitness. That is a plus plus.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
I
very
want
important.
Mhm.
It's very important that you remember that everything you can have anything, enjoy all the foods that you want to, but you must have moderation and go right back to all moderation and portion sizing, making sure that you have not a half a plate of pasta, you can have that quarter or that half cup of pasta and still enjoy it. So you didn't really have to get rid of it. But for you in the beginning, yes, you had to because you had maybe a desire to eat much more than what you wanted to eat.
I had an
So you
addiction.
have to get rid of it. Right. It's like a drug. You have to clear the refrigerator of all the things that you had an addiction to because food can become an addiction. So you really want to make sure that you remove all those things that are going to tempt you and use the things that are more healthy for you.
That is,
Um, so
I,
another myth, sorry, I just wanted to share with you. I mean, I have so much information here that I
can't
wanted to share with you. And I do think that this half an hour is not even giving justice to what I
you
have to say
know,
to everyone.
exactly. I agree. We need you to come back again. But I do need
You
to
got
say
time,
to
Donna. You
you,
got time.
um, I have a couple of friends who actually reverse. They had diabetes, but with working out and exercise and the change in the lifestyles, they were able to get rid of that, like type 2 diabetes. So, are there certain disease and things that we have in our community with kidney disease, with diabetes, with high blood pressure? What can we do to reverse or eliminate some of those?
Okay, first of all, your question is, for instance, you asked me what are some things our community members can do to avoid diabetes and all those other complications?
Mhm. Yes.
Basically, it goes again all the way back to educating yourself, increasing your awareness, knowing what myths are in terms of good health. Are supplements good for me? Is it a waste of money? You need to know, is anybody in my family have a family history of these illnesses? If I use, some people say if I have bush tea, whatever, I won't, I won't get sick. They drink their bush tea and think that they're going to be healthy, and not necessarily so, because these can also affect medications. Yes, you've heard people saying, oh, any food that is white, or people have been saying any food that is white is unhealthy. But actually, some of the foods that are unhealthy are actually healthy foods, because white potatoes are very good in carbs, and they also have vitamin C and other nutrients in it. So you can't tell people not to eat potatoes. I don't. Rice is the same thing. It's a carb.
So,
If your body does not get carb, your body is going to go to the muscles and the protein, and it's going to break your body down. So you need to have carbs for energy. And I must emphasize this: eating no carbs can lead you into serious problems. Okay,
Wow.
you must have some forms of carbs.
quick question. Is that related to the keto diet? Is it? I think the keto diet does
More
something.
proteins, right?
Basically, I am not going to promote any diets, because I am not a fun person for diets. Okay, I am into meal planning, practicing balance, moderation, variety. When you go into diets, I tell you, it makes you feel as if that you stay in it for 2 weeks or for a month, and then you change. You just want to change your lifestyle. I want to enjoy my food. I love to eat carbs. I want to have some carbs, because I'm going to have a desire later on. If I don't have it, I'm going to be eating a lot of it when I see it. Right? So when you start that diet, it's going to cause another problem for you. So please do not promote diets. We promote good meal planning, and we want balance, moderation, and variety in our foods. We have African foods, we have Chinese food, we have all of those other foods that are important for us to try out other people's culture. We need to try out people's culture. I'm a foodie, and I love those types of food.
I
So,
love African spinach.
right. If you take those same potatoes that we in the Caribbean eat and have the Indian prepare those potatoes, you'll be surprised to know they mix that with some okras. And that's a delicious dish with potatoes and okras. And you believe it or not, put the spices together. I love that. Right?
I love provision.
Right. So, but again, it goes right back to portion size. How much of that mixture can you have? You still can enjoy it. It's a buffet. Enjoy
That's
it.
what we don't. You know what? And I find that a lot of our Caribbean folks don't know portion size. As big as the plate is, not only Caribbean folks, Africans have the same problem as well. The bigger the plate, the better it is. And thinking that your stomach popping out is cute, it's not cute. Because
No.
the thing is, like you said,
My father had a very good say. He says your eyes are bigger than your belly.
That's
true.
correct. That's correct, John. I call them the seafood diet. Right? That's a seafood diet. I see the food and I eat the diet, right? That's what I call it. So we want to change that, right? We want to make sure that people, yes, you can see the food, but guess what? How much can I have it? How much can I have on my plate? I'll go to a buffet, and I look at everything, and I taste every single thing on that buffet, and I'm not going to be scared, because I'm going to put on that weight.
But one thing, I love my stew peas. I love them. I love them with my cook up with my peas and rice. I love my stew peas.
That's nothing wrong with you having your stew peas. What's
I eat the whole thing.
Stew peas, dumplings, and the meat. No, it's not a problem. You can monitor. No, you can have your stew peas and eat it and enjoy it. But it's the way how you cook your foods. How much fat is on that? Just peel off that little fat off there. You can use even chicken in your stew peas. You can use bones. You can use turkey neck bones, whatever it is. But you can't have your stew peas. There's nothing wrong in having your stew peas. Stew peas, the beans in the stew peas are very high in protein. So you really want to encourage people to enjoy their cultural foods, and also, again, how to moderate or modify your diet, the meal or the recipe, so that you can still enjoy it and still have that desire to have to have a full.
But
So
Donna,
again,
what about sweets? About sweets, the cakes and the black cakes and all this other cakes and the pastries.
No.
How many times do you have black cake, John?
Well, only on holidays.
Okay, so do you think that's a problem?
Yeah. because I like.
It is a problem. Why?
I eat a lot of the cake.
Well, well,
I
you're
eat a
gonna
lot
pay
of
the
the
price
cake.
for it then, John. If you're gonna eat the whole cake,
Not the
fine,
whole cake, but
fine.
I eat. The holidays. You got the holidays, but then
Holidays
sometimes.
are, yeah, I'm going to say to you, holidays are to be enjoyed. But that's the reason why throughout the year, you're going to make sure you lose that 20 pound or 50 pounds. So when the holiday comes around, even if you enjoy that piece of cake or the whole cake, even the extra calories that you put in, you're going to be losing it again because you went back to your normal. And that's why
Discipline.
usually in January, they say, oh, what's my new thing? Am I going to go back to my regular eating habits, or what's my lifestyle? Or better still, you can still have that piece of cake, but mentally say, I'm going to have a slice of this cake, but I'm not going to have the whole cake. I bake black cakes. So I know for a fact that I shouldn't be having no whole lot of black cake because it may affect me if I do that. But by gosh, I'm going to have my black cake. I'm going to bake it and I'm going to let people enjoy it. And I'm going to cut it in small pieces.
Donna, I'm with you on that. You people, I can't have this. I'm gonna starve. I'm gonna. You know what? Eat it. But as you're saying, balanced. You got your variety and moderation. So like you said, we don't do that. Like you said, you have a regular plate, but some of us, okay, fine. We divide it in three, but then we have the plate, 5 inches high, piling the food on. We got we compartmentalize everything, but we pile the food on.
Remember also that each person is their own person. And again, this is like teaching someone how to make sure that they're getting the proper calories or the amount of calories that they should have per day or whatever their desired calories are. It depends on your age, depends on your activity level. It depends on what profession you are. If you're going to be doing a hard worker, like a man who's going to be running a jackhammer, or he's going to be climbing the roof or whatever, doing heavy work, he needs more calories than a person who's just sedentary at home and just watching TV. So between the two persons, the one who is jackhammering or whatever he's doing out there may need an extra calorie. It wouldn't bother him. But a person like me who's sitting home would not be able to eat that entire cake. Again, you have to go back to variety, moderation, and balance and see where you stand. Know who you are, know your ABCs, know how far you can go. It's like you take a baby outside, you're going to watch him and see how far he's going to step. Is he going to step and fall off the ridge? No, you're going to know where your limitations are. You're going to pull back to be careful not to get hurt. And people with diabetes or with high blood pressure, they're going to ask questions or anything of that nature. Or even before you get to that point, which is important, does this thing have salt? And by the way, some people can detect salt no matter wherever they are. And
Right.
they can taste it right at the tip of their tongue if they go out and they check the stew peas. And you say, oh my God, the stew peas is too salty. Did the person boil a stew peas? Those what do you call it? Those pork tails or whatever you want to call them. Did they boil them? The pigtails. Did they boil it enough? And so you know what? I had a bad experience with my blood pressure. So I'm going to stay away from this thing. I'm going to put it in the garbage. I'm going to tell them I'm going to pack it up and I'm going to take it home because you know what? I ain't eating this thing because I don't want it in the hospital. So again, that's for a person who has been going through all the different phases. Once they put you in the hospital and you know that, then you know that you are good to go. So again, you just be careful of what you're doing or what you're putting in your body.
I agree. Like sometimes we should have like foods, like the education of foods. What foods are good for us? What foods we should eat in moderation, and most of all, but a lot of times it's the access to healthy foods.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have no Whole Foods in our community, but what's interesting is that when you back home in the Caribbean or you're down south where people grow their foods, the natural foods, the nutritions, the vitamins, it seems that my grandmother lived to like 92 years old, and she ate pork, she ate everything, but it was healthy, came from the ground, and it just seems like so much processed food we eat, packed with sodium, and we just not. It's like we don't pay attention to the ingredients that goes into the foods that we eat, that we put into our bodies, and also we don't we don't we don't eat foods to clean it to clean ourselves, to clean us out of what we have taken into our bodies.
Okay, let me address that. I grew up on a farm. My father was an agricultural professor, actually, so I know what you're talking about. And I am a strong advocate for from the farm, from the farm to the plate. And natural is the best. I always say to my patients or whoever I'm speaking to that the more natural the food is, the potatoes, the bananas, the yam, the cocoa, that stuff is full, it's grown. It's better for you than really going into the processed area, going into the freeze and stuff. I mean, in terms of those processed foods. Stay closer to the ground, the more healthy you are. Stay closer to the processed foods, the sicker you'll get. So again,
I like
you
that.
will,
I like
yes,
that. I like that.
right. We as nutritionists are advocates, and sometimes we get into a little thing because we're gonna knock the processed foods, but they're gonna say, well, they have to preserve the foods, we have to do this. Well, if you can get to farmers market, educate yourself. It all goes right back again. In your community, check to see where is the nearest supermarket and maybe the nearest farmers market in your neighborhood. In New York City, there's so many. I don't know, because in other places, like I know I'm talking to audience maybe in Florida or in Jamaica, that if you can find these places, that would be the best thing for you. Once you know where your food is coming from, you are better off purchasing those types of food. It may cost you a little bit more, but let's put it this way. It's better than having to pay the price of going to the hospital and being sick. Living in the country, I enjoy living in the country because the food is natural. When I go back home to my country in Jamaica, I can see the difference of food, the taste of the food in Jamaica versus when I'm here in the US and I go to the food stand and buy those Thai foods.
Especially the spices that are used when you go back home. You taste the difference of the food.
You know what? I want to add to that. The spices that you mentioned that we use or whatever, what are some of the myths about some popular spices or some spices? Like you mentioned, your spices here and the spices in the Caribbean is totally different. But what do we use here that's different from the ones in the Caribbean? And how does that affect us?
First of all, I don't know if it's the spices that's different here. Mm-hmm. I think it's the additives. Like, I don't want to tell you what it is. I don't want to get myself in trouble. You know these adobo seasonings?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You know about the MSGs?
Yes, I know about the MSGs, definitely.
You know what does MSG do to your brain? What does the MSG do to your brain?
Could you explain to us, Donna?
MSG makes you think. This plays a mind game on you. The food tastes good. That's why our Caribbean foods, some of these restaurateurs, they add this white stuff. You go in the Chinaman shop and you see these big white packages. It's called MSG. That's
the Asian restaurants.
What? I'm sorry. I forgot. I'm sorry. I apologize for saying that. I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm sorry. It doesn't matter whether it's an Asian restaurants or wherever. That's what is the popular thing that they use in the foods. And it's not only Asian restaurants, in many restaurants, in our Caribbean restaurants, in our Caribbean restaurants,
like that. We understand that, but they understand what we mean. Nothing derogatory. It's the Asian restaurants and stuff like that. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but it's not only the Asian restaurants that use the MSG. I'm talking about our Caribbean people. They are using these things, powdered things, in our foods and making us believe that, yes, this is what it is good. The reason why I know this, because I'm giving a disclaimer. I'm talking about myself. Anytime I eat food with MSG, I have a headache.
Right.
And you wonder, yes. And it is
when Doc gave me some food, I had a headache when she gave me some food.
I didn't cook for you.
No. I'm serious. Seriously. There is it's called can't tell you. I will talk about that later on. But basically, what I'm just trying to say is this: you must know what is in your food, who's preparing your foods before you actually put it in your body, and that's the bottom line. I'm not trying to knock anyone down about spices and herbs. The more natural your spices and herbs are, the better it is. But the MSG is like an enhancer, and no matter how much spices you put in, you put that white stuff in the food, and it makes you believe it doesn't matter. Because my kids will tell me, "Mommy, your food don't have no taste," and then I will add so much spices, so much natural seasonings in that they're not accustomed to the taste of the natural season, so they have not inherited that taste, that natural flavor. They rather have that other taste because the brain is sending them that message. Oh, it doesn't taste so good, and so mommy doesn't cook so good. So I'm saying, just be aware of those things. I can't say it anymore. My job is to educate you so you can make a decision. People may like it, some people may not like it, but that's what I do. Okay, I've had the experience, so I can share it with you.
You know what? Can you share with us the organization that you are a president of, please? Because I
Okay.
would like to know more about it.
Okay, I do volunteer work globally and locally, and the organization is called Lions Club International, and it's in over 200 countries, and they have about 48,000 clubs throughout the world, and they do a lot of volunteer work covering global causes such as vision, diabetes, pediatric cancer, environment, youth issues, and other humanitarian needs. That's what they do. That's the organization itself. I actually chartered a club, or the club was chartered in 2010, and it's called the Brooklyn Health Educators Lions Club. And what that particular club is doing is actually we recruit people who are health providers, not health providers, healthcare professionals, nurses, doctors, social workers, pharmacists, anybody in that particular field. Reason why? Because we would like to we are paying particular attention to diabetes. We have sponsored one of the churches in the past in Brooklyn. The program is called the National Diabetes Prevention Program. And what we do, we teach the community members how to manage themselves or manage their food, how to prevent diabetes, how to eat well, reduce their stress level, walk for, include 150 minutes of daily walking or physical activity. Those are some of the things that we have been doing. It's a special program. It's very, very put together. It's coordinated by CDC, which is the Center for Disease Control. So again, that is one of the things that I've done. So the club itself is functioning in Brooklyn, and we are asking for anyone to join. You have to be invited to the meetings. We meet once a month, and we talk about how to resolve issues, and where there's a need, Lions are there to help.
And you know what, Donna? I want to commend you on being a part of the Lions. I'm also a part of the Lions too, and hopefully one day we can get Doc involved, because they really do some important things, not only in the community but internationally, worldwide.
I'm looking forward to that.
We're looking forward to making sure that you remember, Doc. But I just want to share some last thoughts, Donna. And you mentioned the importance of moderation, balance, and variety. And we want to, thinking about what's in our foods, just like what we are putting in our bodies, and any other important considerations people need to have as they think about their diet. So maybe you can leave us with that.
Oh, what important things to think about. Oh my goodness.
Because I'm coming to you, I said, Donna, what are important things that I need to think about moving forward and just trying to live that healthy lifestyle?
Well, the first thing you need to know your status. You need to know where you're at. And I was watching one of the videos on the doctor who did that colon cancer screen presentation on your video, and I was really impressed. And I'm telling you, it's exactly what I'm saying. You need to know your status. You must go to the doctor, get a physical examination. Doesn't matter whether you are documented or undocumented. We have services out there for everyone. And I don't want people to be afraid to go to the doctor. They're not going to come and get you. This is New York City, okay? We have the public hospitals, Kings County. I'm sorry. This is Brooklyn, by the way. And I'm telling you, wherever your hospital is, make sure that you go, make an appointment, go in to see the doctor, get a physical done. That's number one. If there is a problem, please follow up with it. So that when you find that there's a problem, doctor says, first of all, they're not going to tell you to go see the dietitian. So make sure you say, can I have a referral to see the dietitian? Doesn't matter. Just don't tell him what you want it for. Just go to the dietitian, okay? Because they're not going to refer. Once you do that, you sit down with the dietitian and you say to her, what is the right way? How much calories do I need? What foods what am I not doing right? What's wrong? Because I cannot do an assessment of anybody unless I have an evaluation. I must assess that person first. I must get lab reports. I must see their height, weight, all that stuff. Just like a doctor. Go through the whole stuff, and then I tell you the whole story. I have to see what's your 3-day dietary recall? How am I eating? You need to bring that to the dietitian. And you can also do it for yourself. Make sure you keep a dietary, a diet log and say, this is what I'm eating. I'm writing my ice cream. Why am I eating your ice cream? Oh, because I'm stressed. I can't take it. And I want to eat some ice cream. So you need to make sure you keep that log. And when you go to the dietitian, you present that and say, doc, or a dietitian, this is what I've been doing. And then they'll give you ideas as to what to do to, to change that. It's just an intense dietetics. Yes.
Know your status, Donna. Donna,
know your status.
I just want to thank you for the education that provided, not for only the people in the village, but to me and to the doctor and everybody listening, and the importance of just knowing your status so you'd be better able to communicate to your doctor what you need and what you want in order to have that healthy lifestyle. Like you said, it's not about a diet. It's about a healthy lifestyle. And, I'm going to get some stew peas tonight because you told me it's about a healthy lifestyle. So I'm going to get some stew peas.
Okay,
but I'm going to eat my stew peas tomorrow because
that's fine, John. That's fine, John. I just want to make one more thing known. You know something about multivitamins? People love to take their multivitamins.
Yeah.
Over 50, they recommend that you have one a day. Not everybody should get a multivitamin if they're eating well. If they are in particular medical problems or they have medical problems, like for instance, the problem, a mother is pregnant, she may need her iron pills. If the person who has TB taking medications, INH, they need some B6 vitamins to help to monitor or to control that deficiency, because these are things that you need to know. But I'm telling you, taking your multivitamins or forcing people to buy multivitamins is not necessarily for everyone. You need to drink water and stay hydrated at all times. Limit sugary drinks. Learn to read labels. Those things have sugar in it. I mean, these nice water bottles that have water. It says water, and it's colored.
Water?
It's not water, okay? You can make water, put a squeeze of lemon in it, and you get the same better taste.
Yes,
okay? Put fruits in the water, and you can have your water. Exercise regularly. 150 minutes of physical activity every week, at least 20 to 30 minutes a day. And you don't have to do it every day. It could be in increments of 10. Reduce sitting and screen time. A lot of people right now in front of the computer, and they're gaining a lot of weight. Get up, look outside, walk outside, even to the front door, or go up the road and come back down. Go walk around the table. I don't know what you do. Go up the stairs. Do some stair climbing. Whatever you do, do something. Go vacuum the house. It may be clean and already, but still vacuum.
Donna, you know what? And I think you just nailed it. And the thoughts that you're leaving, the movement, and that's what we need. We talk about balance, moderation. We talk about variety, but most of all, as you're saying, movement. We use all those combinations, and we can have such a healthy lifestyle. So, Don, I just want to again just thank you for coming to the village, providing us this monumental information that is needed in our communities, And members of the village, please listen to what Donna said here tonight. You can eat what you want to eat, but it's all about balance, moderation, and variety, and a little bit of exercise. Donna,
Don't
thank you
forget
very
sleep.
much.
Don't forget sleep, John.
And sleep. I love my
And
sleep.
reduce your
Donna, thank you so
alcohol.
much.
Alcohol.
Oh, I love my rum. Hey, Joanne, before we leave, you got any thoughts before we let Donna
You know
go?
what? Please, can you share with everyone how they can reach you?
Yes.
That's important, and we want you back.
Number one, they can reach you, John. That is number one. Number two,
Okay.
let me know. My number is 917-297-3880. And again, my email address is Budai, BUDAIHO @AOL.com. Again, if you want more information, you can maybe ask Joanne and she can send the information to you out. So, Joanne, that's in your ballpark.
Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. Thank you. And you have to come back. You have to promise us you're going to come back because we have to address.
I will do that. It's on diabetes, though. Can I bring diabetes?
Of course.
Allergies, please. I need some help over here. So please.
You need the vaccine.
Can I bring a friend too? Can I bring a friend too?
You could bring a friend. You heard what he said to me? I need the vaccine. Donna.
I'm not going to go that area.
I don't want to start. Donna, thanks again for coming on. We appreciate you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure.
I appreciate you.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye. You know what, John?
What you said, Doc?
You know what? With the whole vaccine thing, what did we discuss already?
Oh, health.
And choice.
And
health.
Yes.
And choice. Yes. And CDC. Read.
And read. And but Doc, you know what? What are the takeaways that you got from what Donna talked about this evening, and how can we, remind our listeners about just being not a diet but a healthy lifestyle? Yeah,
it's all about changing. Your mindset has to change. It's not a quick fix. It is a lifestyle change. Get some movement in. Also, making right decision, portion control. She mentioned something in the beginning in regards to the triangle. You call it the Bermuda Triangle.
Yep.
So that actually stayed with me. And also mentioning, how can we change what comes into our community? What can we do about that? Who can we speak to about who's coming in? Do we actually have a voice and say, yes, we can go to community board, but do we really have a voice in regards to that?
I think we do have a voice because we have a voice because we spend our money. So when we spend our money, we can make the determinations of where we want to spend it, how much we want to spend it, and what we want to spend it on. But the problem is this takes
training.
This takes an effort. This takes focus on just that lifestyle. But it goes everything. When you talk about education, you talk about business, you talk about safety. It's all about what kind of lifestyle you want. You want a lifestyle of chaos, or you want a lifestyle of calm, being able to deal with the stresses in life. And it's so true. You are what you eat. I understand. I like to eat, but I understand I can't eat the way I used to eat, and I have to put the work in. I have to go to the gym, get up early in the morning, get into the gym, work out, put the time in, put the effort in. If I want to eat that, if I want to have that extra piece of jerk chicken, or I just want to eat a piece of fried chicken, or I just want to eat some pasta or something, I know that the next morning I got to do an extra maybe 10 minutes on the treadmill or work out at 10 minutes. Because to me, one of the strongest muscles or the strongest muscles in your body is your heart.
Yes.
And you have to, it's like any muscle, you have to keep it strong. And the things that you put into your body, and your mind is, your mind can will you to do things that your body tells you that you can't.
That is true. That is true. Just
And
when you're ready to give up, you can keep going.
yeah, exactly. But look at you lost that 20 pounds.
And I'm gonna go further. Because
Yeah,
my goal is to
because as you said, what did you say?
get my
Let me
sexy
see.
back.
Get
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
sexy back. I
Yeah.
know. So your sexy left. So
Mhm.
you had to go bring it back.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. And I
Uh,
gotta be better than I was when I was younger. The older you get, the finer you become. I want to become a fine.
Woo!
Yes, yes, important,
I
important.
think I just fell down.
So that is important. The older as you age, you need to age well.
That's
In one
true.
piece. So
That's true. And
definitely.
and, and I think just by just knowing the composition of what we put into our body can really assist us in living that healthy lifestyle, because we were exposed. COVID exposed us. COVID exposed our inability to really monitor a lot of those um, as we call those risk factors that existed, those underlying conditions.
Hmm.
It exposed us. And
And we need to break the cycle for our children
yes.
and other young people in the community. So,
Mhm.
kids are so used to eating fast food. I'm guilty of that because you know what? I'm constantly on the run. But, I cook all the time. I'm always cooking, but my kids, I might have to cook three different meals. My daughter wants something, my son wants something, and I want something else. And I have no problem with that. But we have to break them away from seeing this symbol. That's one of the first things that they learn how to read. Those, MM signs, they'll be able to read that, indicate that. But just pulling them away from that, and that's why I believe in cooking with your children, cooking, doing things together to educate them and just get them into the love of doing that, teaching them what to put inside their body.
Yeah, teaching them what to put inside their body, what to what to get
Avoid
avoid.
diabetes as a child, you
Oh
can't get rid of
gosh,
type
yeah,
1 diabetes. So
yes.
we want to eliminate that, especially in children and adults. We could eventually work that off, God willing. But children, once you get it, it's a wrap. So, that's going to be a goal. Very much so.
And then that is definitely truly our goal, is to definitely continue to do what we're doing here at the village, and just educating our people, educating our villagers about the impact of the food they put into themselves that can really have an impact upon your lifestyle. You know,
Yeah.
like anything else, and just to exercise can just really be so helpful to just take us to another level. Just really take us to another level.
I want to change the topic.
Oh,
I have to give credit to the Knicks, who's been losing
okay.
for
Oh,
years.
what are you talking about?
But,
What are you talking about?
to hear that, there was a win. Whew, thank you, New York.
That was New
That,
York, New York. That was an
okay,
excellent,
that
and
was
that's
a good
that's
comeback.
grit
Whew.
and determination. But now we're going to ATL. It's going
It's
to be a
all good.
hostile crowd. Hopefully, they don't spit on nobody and they don't throw popcorn on anybody. You know. But we're
Like
ready.
Philadelphia, it's okay. It's all
Oh,
right.
Philly, yeah, yo, Philly is no joke.
It's okay. It's
Philly
all
is
right.
no joke. And Doc, we are very fortunate. We have our next guest. She is she's in as we said, the back room, just chilling, waiting to come aboard, engaging into. Maybe you want to introduce her, Doc.
No, I think I'm gonna let you introduce her. I'm gonna step
But
back.
let me introduce her.
Yes, yes.
Is an individual who is seeking to represent her community, represent her district, someone who wants to join the political realm. You know, politics is not for everybody, but some people just got that. They not. I don't call it a bug, but some people just want to do more.
That's what we need.
Sit
That's
on the
what we need.
sidelines. They want to get involved into that contact sport. So, without further ado,
Change
oh,
maker.
hold on. Oh, excuse me.
Change maker.
The
Come on.
change maker. She wants to be
Yes.
the change maker. So, at this point in time, I want to introduce Kenya Handy. She is running in the 40th Councilmatic District. Miss Handy, welcome.
Thank you.
Place they call the Village.
Yes.
Handy.
Thank you for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
I can hear
Okay,
you.
good. How's everybody doing?
We're great. Thank you for what you do.
Looks like you're outside doorknob.
Yes, so I had a meet and greet. So I snuck away to join you guys. So I thank you for your patience for me trying to get in.
Yes.
Yeah, and our fearless leader here, he just joined us. I don't know, he was jet setting. I don't know where he was. I guess he must have got off the plane or the boat, or must have got out the sprinter.
I hope he has some mangoes this week.
Right?
I think they got confiscated at the airport.
You know,
Daily, rude boy.
The last mango went to my wife today. So
Nice.
tell you if she had a robin mango.
So you know, hold on. I was filling in the seat for our fearless leader, so I'm gonna change seats now with the leader because I want him back here in the seat. So you know, here you go, leader. Here you go. Here you go.
You know, we're gonna be
Oh my god!
you know, the only reason why he wants to sit seat Kenny is because he's taller than me. So this makes him like he's like, you know, even taller. So I noticed that you picked up a very good endorsement today. Congresswoman Yvette Clark's campaign and PDPA endorsed you for city council. How does that feel?
Yes, it feels amazing, and it feels validating that the congresswoman who gave me my start in politics believes that much in me and my abilities to serve the district. So I'm honored to have her endorsement. I'm honored to have the support of Dr. Una S.T. Clark, both of whom had the seat before the current councilman Matthew Jean. So it's a pass the torch moment, and I'm thrilled.
That is awesome. Tell us a little bit, real fast. Tell us a little bit about your vision. Let's not get to that yet. Tell us a little bit about your background,
Sure.
where you're coming from, in terms of, you know, what is it that you do that propelled you to this moment where you want to run for the councilmatic district.
Sure. So I was raised in Flatbush. I'm a daughter of Flatbush, raised in District 40. I'm raising my two children here. And I want to make sure that we all live here, we stay here, we grow here, and we thrive in Flatbush. And, you know, you're seeing that that's not happening anymore. It's not available to many of us. And so as I've gone through different iterations of my career, so I started working for Congresswoman Clark down in DC as a legislative assistant, working on amazing pieces of legislation, one of which I'm so proud of is comprehensive immigration reform, prioritizing the needs of Black immigrants in our community. So delivering in such a capacity was, you know, something that I'm so proud of. And then, but we were in the minority. So I came home to be the Brooklyn director for the New York City Controller's Office, then left there to be the Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island director for the New York State Attorney General's Office. And then because of the urgency of now and COVID, I have left the Department of Investigation, which roots out waste, fraud, and abuse of city resources, to lend my talents and expertise and knowledge of how government works to organize my community and make sure that we are, you know, as all of this funding comes down from the federal government, all of these policies come down to the state, that you can actually see your tax money on the ground, and that District 40 is actually delivered for. So that's my main goal, is to make sure that we have the equity in our community, that we are empowered to actually demand what it is that we need, and that we have greater community, because we are siloed in much of the district, and I want to be able to bring us together.
I love that. I have a quick question for you. There are so many people running in your district. What makes you different?
There are a lot of people running. What makes me different is I have the experience. I've dealt with city budgets, literally commanding what DOI needed in its budget hearings, preparing the commissioner for what was the difference between a PS budget and a OTPS budget, which is personnel services budget versus other than personnel services budget. And that in a nutshell is what makes me the secret weapon. Is I know how to read a budget. I know how to look at where the trickery is, as they say, in the budget. And that is where you're going to be able to really deliver for communities, is through budget negotiations. I also have the legislative and investigative experiences that is the foundation to a city council member. So a lot of folks are going to be coming in talking about what they'd like to do. I can come in and talk about what I've already done, and then show you exactly how I can do the things that I want to do. Senator, I can hear you.
John, we can't hear you.
Because Roger ain't put me on. That's what. You give me the big chair, and you treat me like you always treat me.
It wasn't me, it was the producer. Don't blame me.
You know what? I love what you said. You're not talking the talk. You're actually walking the walk, and that's what we talked about earlier.
But let me finish. That's fine and dandy, but Miss Smith on Flatbush and Flatbush and Parkside wants to know, how can the local school in my district be provided with those resources that these kids need in order to get better educated? Can you explain to the community what you would be doing? What goes on the budget and everything is fine, but they want to know everyday life. How are you going to make it happen? How am I going to be able to see my councilwoman, talk to her, and know that my everyday living and lifestyle is going to change?
It's easy. It's being available. It's being transparent, and it's also making sure that you are teaching as you go, so that folks have an understanding of how to leverage their vote. And that's really important to me. I want to make sure that I'm tangible. So as I'm walking down the street and Ms. Smith asks me what I'm doing for the schools or how am I doing it, I'm telling her that I'm organizing on the ground. I'm making sure that I'm speaking to the superintendent, figuring out what it is that they need to then further resource whatever programming or initiatives that Ms. Smith and her children are involved in. Making sure that Ms. Smith says, Kenya, we need X amount of dollars, or we need to fundraise for this. So, it's about providing it. I'm a big proponent for participatory budgeting. I want to make sure that Ms. Smith, if she has an endeavor that she needs funded, she has access to discretionary funding and can work with the community to make sure that it's funded, and it's not me and my political, friends going around dishing out money like, this is my own prerogative. I want to make sure that I'm building from the ground up and making sure that folks have access to government through me. But eventually, I want to make sure that we have the language and the understanding of how government works, so they can demand regardless of whether I'm there or not. And that's the goal.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. So tell us, what I have a question. I don't know. I'm going to ask you anyway.
Okay.
There's a lot of complaint in the 40th about when I walk on the street, the person who's in office, who I know, a lot of complaints about do nothing assembly. Do nothing city council person. I'm sure you've heard that.
Yes. Every day.
Right. What that will scare people from politics.
Yes.
Right? Because they he's been there for 15 years actually. This is since 2006, right? So so 15 years he's been in office and is the do nothing city council person.
Yes.
True or not true, what is going to distinguish you from the current person?
Well, first thing I do when I hear folks say that is I ask the question, if this were a private company and you were a boss, do you hire somebody and just let them go without telling them what your agenda is, where you're going to do, what are the transparency points, and usher them through so that there's accountability? And I think that is something that we really need to hone in on as a community, as a people, is how do we keep our folks accountable? And so that is what I want to show my community is what are the things that you need to know about the city council so you can know that I'm actually doing the job. I want to make sure that I'm constantly engaging community so that they know that I'm working for them, but it's also making sure that we are organizing as a special interest. Because I can tell you, Matthew Eugene, the current councilman, has been working. He just not has been working for the majority of the community. And because there are people on the ground who have been leveraging their vote. And so it's really important for us now as the larger community to start understanding the process of how to leverage your vote, how to hold your elected official accountable, what is the very, job description. So, as I'm moving throughout the streets that I'm moving like a council member. If I'm talking about healthcare policy, then you should be alarmed because the city council has no real effect on healthcare policy. It's the state legislature. So I want you to know that difference, be able to delineate the difference. So it's like, well, Kenya, are you running for the state legislature or are you my city councilwoman? If you're city council, then it's about funding, administration, and enforcement. And then that I'm going after bad actors. That I'm going after that funding to bring back for the resources instead of going to other areas. That is not my job. And that's when you start to see people like, oh, shoot. This is what it's supposed to be like. This is about service delivery. That's the end of the day, it's service delivery. And if I'm not delivering that service, then I'm not doing my job. But you as a community member will be able to see that and then leverage that come the next voting cycle.
So Kenya, what you're trying to say is, to be blunt, services weren't being delivered effectively.
Not to everybody. I can tell you that much.
So you want to make sure that these services are delivered across the board to everyone.
Let me jump on John's.
Oh, that sucks.
I'm going to jump on John's thought.
Okay, that's good. It means you give me a compliment for once.
Right. The services were not delivered, yet still he was endorsed by the same person that endorsed you.
Yes.
How do you pivot that conversation to the new one, right? Because at the end of the day, he was endorsed, right? He was endorsed and he was carried through the community back in 2006, handpicked, essentially. So now you now have to pivot that because we like what you're saying. It sounds good. Mm-hmm. How do you pivot that and say, I'm not him?
The idea is that I've already shown you how I've delivered, right? I've already shown you, I've been on these streets, I've been doing the work, and I haven't been just showing up and taking pictures. I've literally been moving boxes. I've literally been handing out food.
Oh, you said showing up and taking pictures.
I hear that jab. I hear that. I got you.
Look, facts are facts, right? So it's a matter of showing that you can do the work. But it's also, again, not being that I don't want to just make the difference. I want to be the difference. And I've been showing even throughout my other, colleagues, I am different. People are looking at me differently. They're hearing the things that I'm saying. And it's not just I'm giving you these big ideology. It's very small, concrete ways in which I want to deliver so that you bring that faith back into government. so that we can then start working together to make the change and just leverage government wherever we can to help reinforce what's happening on the ground. It's us. It is up to us to make the difference in our community. It can't just be a council member. It has to be everyone coming together and investing in property, investing in businesses, investing in the economic future so that we can stay here and that we can then demand what it is that we want for our community, our children, our future.
You struck Joanne because she unmuted her mic right away like she had a question. Go ahead, Joe. I'm listening.
No. She's 100% correct. Because here's the thing. If it's not all of us doing the work, then what's the point? You know, then you're going to have the haves and haves not. And then you're going to have a group of people who are just leaving New York. So it takes a community effort in order to make change happen.
Amen.
Listen, Joanne is like, you know, politics is not her thing. It's education. So if you got her wound up, then you know you're doing something right.
But you know, you can get it even wound up if you talk about.
Don't do
What am I talking about?
Say the word.
It's two things that get her more wound up: the vaccine and legalize the
herb.
Well, then, Joanne, let's go, because I really want to focus on. Well, look, we really need to think about how we are. Not only the plant, it has been legalized, right? But how are we legalizing the industry? Our brothers and many of our sisters who are in the industry selling, but they're going to now be on the dark side of the black market or the dark side of the regulatory market if they don't have primary access to licensing, if they don't have primary access to horticulture, to the educational component that allow them to get into this industry. They have the skill set already. They've proven that.
Listen, John and I have been talking about creating our own distillery.
Yes, we need this. I want to bring a dispensary to District 40 and then utilize that as a way to create.
Oh, shit. I think she muted her mic.
I'll say it again.
So I have a question, Paula. So my question to you is the following. You're sitting in city council, you have your campaign thoughts and vision. What committees, tell me the priority committees for you as a city community council and why?
Sure. So my priority committees would be oversight and investigation, because it allows me the opportunity to have access to all the committees, but from an investigatory lens. Because what I find in city agencies is that we have, there's a large level of inefficiency. And a lot of the funding that is already there is trapped in agencies, and the people who administer the mission of the agencies are not resourced or not well resourced. And so I want to make sure.
Hold the thought. We have a caller.
Yes. Sure.
Let's get it. I'm very bad at your phone. Caller, you're live.
Yes, hi. I'm waiting to speak to someone off the air.
Okay. All right. So I will. Okay, just please hold, and I'll get back to you.
Sure.
Go ahead. Continue.
Sure. So oversight investigation. I want to be on the finance committee. It's about bringing home in the banking, understanding the budget. Small business committee.
Yes.
Small businesses are integral to the growth of our communities and our livelihoods, creating greater jobs in Black and Brown communities, right? So we need to make sure that our business corridors are fully invested. It's also, for me, looking at environmental. There's environmental injustices that are going on within our community, and making sure that we have access to new green jobs, understanding what are the sustainability issues that are in our community, and how we can, as a large scale community, invest in the sustainability of our city. Transportation is huge too. We, if anybody's taken the train in the past 2 years or 3 years, I would say pre-COVID, our transportation system sucks. And there are protections, there are investments, and there are, real economic implications when your train is late, or you don't have access to real bus, integrated bus system. And there are a couple of things that the city's doing now that's coming down the pike that is going to affect Central Brooklyn. And I want to make sure that I'm on that conversation and making sure I'm representing the community in those conversations.
Yeah, I just want to and the community.
Sorry, I'm turning on back the mic. I'm sorry, I turned it off for a minute. Let's your endorsements. Let's go to that. You have been endorsed by Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, Dr. Una S. Clarke, and PDPA.
Yes.
Any other major endorsements that you want to discuss?
Of course. So I also have Assemblyman Bobby Carroll, Assemblywoman Latrice Walker. I have Councilwoman Alika Ampry Samuel, Councilwoman Helen Rosenthal, and I have, in terms of institutional endorsements, DC 37, which is the largest public service union in the country. And so they have really understood my level of knowledge on how agencies work and how to actually get funding to our civil servants who actually do the work, and who have the solutions to many of our agencies' problems.
Hey, I just want to interject on something. Endorsements are fine.
Like, not really.
Everybody loves endorsements, but it's you, the candidate. So I want you to tell the listeners of the village how Kenya, the candidate, is going to go out there and win your vote.
Sure. It's door to door wins the war. And I've been out in the community, knocking on doors, talking to folks, literally asking them how I can serve them, what issues are important to them, and making sure that when I'm talking or when I'm out in the community, that I'm connecting people to resources. So I will have a felt tip pen in my phone, and will literally go to city website to connect them to phone numbers to people that I may know already, and giving them access to those resources. So I've been the personal touch out in community, out in train stations, handing out as many flyers and talking to folks on the ground as possible. Literally walking up business corridors, talking to folks. And I think that's not just something Kenya the candidate will do. It'll be Kenya the councilwoman. I cannot be siloed in an office. It has to be me out in the streets, because that's where the people are. If there's a big thing where I want to do council on your corner and make sure that I'm bringing it to different parts of the community, not to expect you to come to my office. I'm actually in your neighborhood, and you can come to me and tell me what resources you need or what your issues are, and we can connect you then and there. So it's something that campaigning is one for the vote, but it's also campaigning for community. And I want to be out there consistently, making sure that I'm tangible.
So that is phenomenal, because I think what makes an elected official not more pronounced, but makes elected official become a statesperson is their accessibility to their constituents.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know that you are feeling my pain, you live the way I live, you understand. So accessibility is extremely important.
John, one of the things I talk about all the time is about our elected official having advisory committees and certain policies, so they so people have direct access. What is your thought on that, though, Kenya? On that?
I think it's very important. So there are two big ones that I want, or I'd say three. The first one is District 40 Arts and Culture Council. We have a very large arts and culture community, especially as you look through the African diaspora. Many of our small arts and culture, like nonprofits or small businesses, they're a very low resource. They have it's very hard for them to be plugged into.
Wait, hold on, Kenya. I don't know, for some reason there's a
echo.
Yeah, I was hearing.
Yeah, there's a major feedback. I don't know if it's your connection or it's.
How do I sound now?
You hear it now?
No.
Go ahead, Kenya.
Okay.
Continue.
Yeah. So we.
Wait, Joanne, were you hearing it?
I was. I muted myself to see if it was
muted.
here.
Okay. All right, we're
There's
back.
something. What's going on?
Can you hear me now? No?
I can't hear you. I can't hear either one of you.
I can
You
hear
can
you.
hear me, but I can't hear you.
I can hear her.
Can you hear me, Kenya?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, but we can't hear you. I'm wondering why.
It's on your end. Continue,
Let's
Kenya.
see. Does it say mute on your end?
No. It's on-
Hang up, Joe, and call back.
Okay.
Hang up and try back the link. No, I can't hear him at all. Yeah. All right. John, go ahead. Let me hear you.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't hear them. I can hear in the studio. Go ahead. Let's try it again. Kenya?
Yes, I can hear. I hear the feedback again. There we go.
I can hear you now, so we good.
Okay. Miss
hear her.
Joanne
You
is
can't hear
not
her?
here.
I heard her.
Okay.
Oh, there she is.
As long as you hear her.
She's low, though. She's very low.
I can hear her.
Go ahead,
How about now?
Yeah, I think Joanne?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So you're talking about the advisory committee.
Yes.
That's more about it.
So Arts and Culture Council, because I want to make sure, my mother always told me, if you ever want to know where the next hotspot is, follow the artists. And so there's an implication there that the artists come in, they beautify, they make it hot, and then the price of everything gets high, that they're pushed out. And so I want to make and create an economy where our arts and culture community can actually benefit from a local the local economy that they make. So then the second council that I want is District 40 Business Council, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure we're partnering our businesses and our arts and culture community so that we are creating that local currency that goes multiple times throughout our community instead of the barely once that you're seeing right now. And then it's transportation. We have huge transportation and infrastructure issues. When you're looking at building and development, we are primed where the wave is here and the water is getting way too high. And so I want to make sure that we as a community are coming together and really looking at the large scale infrastructure needs and how we are actually building our community, how we're zoning, how we're looking at the architectural context of that building, because development is, you can see 123 Linden is a big eyesore of a building. And so it's just like we need, if we're going to do it, we need to do it for us, but we can also do it in a way that is going to be contextual to the neighborhood and actually create an aesthetic that we will be okay with walking past. Because I roll my eyes every time I walk past 123 Linden.
But also, Kenya, I wanted to also say that we need support. We need support for, when you talk about transportation, the infrastructure, my dollar van drivers.
Yes.
You know, I'm not going to, there's always a battle between them and the transit authority, the MTA. But I think everybody can coexist. I don't want to put you in any quagmire, but hopefully we can get some support.
Yeah. I'm not even just thinking about just a van driver. Remember, we had this conversation, John and Joanne. We're all drivers, right? Mm-hmm. And it seems more and more that in New York City, they're pushing out drivers. There's no parking. You can't drive. Congestion prices coming up. The things are ridiculous, and that's a problem. So I'm just wondering,
there's so much going on, and you have to navigate all of it.
What are some ways that you think that we can be working with that?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, it's a huge problem. It's not only just a transportation issue; it's also environmental. If you're in any community that is a lot of parking or does not have a lot of parking, you're circling multiple times, and that exhaust is going into the larger community. And so it looks like we have to look at how can we create greater residential permit parking? How are we going to really address, look, I think a lot of times we had cars because we have to go outside of our community for resources, for good food, for good entertainment, for restaurants, etc. So if we invest in our larger local business corridors, there'll be a lot less need for us to use cars unless we need to go to the city. And so I want to create more opportunities for us to just be in our community and really enjoy being here. But if we have to leave, we have to think about, how we are going to create greater access, but also we have to coexist. We have a lot more bikers coming into the community. And so it's like, how do we also keep our kids and our young people safe? Because that's important too, because car owners are just going crazy with the speed and all that kind of stuff. So we have to have a larger conversation as a community on, what are we gonna tolerate? What are we not gonna tolerate? And I think that's just something that I can be at the center at, but I can't necessarily dictate.
So Kenya, to wrap it up, basically, what do you see the pathway to victory? I don't want you to give us all because you're opposition, but this is in general terms. What do you see the pathway to victory?
I gotta hit the numbers. We're doing our IDs. And it's really, again, it's door to door wins the war. It's making sure that I am showing up and in the buildings, I'm on the street and talking to voters, making sure that as I'm talking to them, they understand that I'm the best person for the job. Really looking at how ranked choice voting plays into that, because I would not have had the same kind of access and entree as, the well-named or infrastructure candidate. So this allows me space for people to see me in a broader light. And it's just showing folks that I can do the job. I've done many of the elements, just not as a leader in the council. And that's just the personal touch, talking to voters and making sure I'm hitting those numbers.
So Kenya, it's all about hitting those numbers. And I know you got that projected number, those target numbers. You got to make sure you hit that. But since this is a mayoral election year, them numbers might be a little bit higher. So make sure you increase them numbers a little bit. Hit some more extra doors.
Okay.
You never know. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Hey, Doc, you have anything else?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said, Doc, you have anything else you want to before we end? He has to go back and knock on those last couple of doors.
I love it. I love the fact that she's speaking to people. She's listening to people. How can they reach you? How can they support you? What can they share with us, please? And all day, what should they do?
All right. So you can support me by going to KenyaForThePeople2021.com. You can read up all about me, what I've been doing, my history, and my plans for the district. I say that I'm the how candidate, so I tell you a lot of how I want to do things. And we need people. If you want to volunteer, please come out every Saturday and Sunday. We are canvassing, just showing folks who I am and why I should be elected for the job, because at the end of the day, it's a job. It is not a throne. It is not a stepping stone. It is someplace where I need to deliver in that capacity with the tools that I have. And then on election day, I ask all of you to vote me number one, rank me number one. We are line 10 on the ballot and rank number one choice. And for whatever reason, I can't be your number one, please rank me your number two.
All right.
Awesome. It's great in the village.
It's a line. I love it. There's no excuse. Line number 10. Come on.
Line number 10.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching The Village, listening to The Village with Kenya Handy Hilliard. Hopefully I pronounced the Hilliard right?
Yes, you're perfect.
All right, so thank you for joining us. Hopefully you get out. She's on line 10. Vote her number one or number two. You can get in touch with Kenya for the people 2021.com. Kenya, it was a great having you right here in the village.
Thank you so much.
And make sure Dr. Clark knows that, yes, we made sure that you
I'm on
your complete time. All right? God bless and good luck.
Thank you, the village, for all you do. I appreciate you. All right, have a good night.
You too.
Good night.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the Village. Hey, so let me ask you, how was it? I felt missed. I heard the diabetes conversation was great. It was great.
It was Donna was great.
We gotta bring her back. Yes, we do. We gotta bring her back because that conversation gotta continue to go. And especially, I want to find out more about the Lions Club, how we can educate our community more about what to do, how to do it, and to keep going.
Awesome. Did we talk about anything that happened in society today? Anything that's just,
Yeah, we talked about the
shooting,
the shoot 'em up.
the Knicks winning finally. Hallelujah.
really, you don't even watch sports,
No. Let me tell you, my dad is a big time Knicks lover. And we tell him every year, please give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up. But you know what? They came back strong. So,
102-91, right? That was the
That's
score?
right, man. That's right.
They should be up 2-0 if they did a better defensive job,
Yeah. So we coming back. New York's coming back. Slowly but surely, we're coming back. We're opening up doors for the schools coming up in September. All kids will be back in school, but I want them to keep in mind those who learn well remotely, don't keep that out. So that's important.
One thing, Dr. Bryan, they have gotten rid of all the conference days now. So they have snow days. What do you think? So my question is, did anybody at the union talk about that they get rid of snow days, give you back the days in your car?
No, they didn't talk about that.
Because, you spend an extra 3 or 4 days in school. Program there, John. So like school is supposed to be approximately 180 days. They have 186 days because they put in for extra days for snow days. So if they got rid of snow days, give me my days. Cut my short.
What?
We should end early in the school year.
Yeah, I agree. 3 or 4 days early. So I'm excited a little bit. My son is coming. My son hit a grand slam yesterday.
All right.
Hit a grand slam home run. Man, he did it. That lefty, one of the other parents' father called him BBR, which is Baby Babe Ruth. I mean, that boy hit a line giant. Even in the MLB, it would have been a base hit. Even in the MLB, it would be a base hit. So he did that. It was lovely.
Oh, wait. You know what I want to speak about? The scholarships for the COVID.
Talk about that.
No. The scholarships that they're giving out for kids to actually go and take the shots. I don't know how I feel about that. It's,
We know how you feel because you don't want nobody to take the shot. So we know exactly how you feel.
No. I said, I can't take that. What you decide to do is your choice. But now to, put pressure on the kids to say, hey, go get the shot. Possibly you might get a scholarship or you might win the lotto. False advertisement, man.
Yeah, well, it's I was late because I was moderating a conference with 5 doctors, right? 5 doctors of color, actually. And I'm telling you that all 5 of the doctors were like, everybody should get the vaccine.
Okay, that's good for them.
But yeah, I know that included you, because I asked them about you. Go back and check the video. I'm joking. But one thing I'm concerned about though is even my college, they're requiring all of the students to take the vaccine.
Yes.
They're not are requiring all of the adults to take the vaccine, and that to me is problematic. I think both sides need to take the vaccine, but because they have the union advocating for the teachers, but nobody advocating for the students. So in that regard,
that's where it crossed civil rights, where Rutgers is protesting in regards to that. Like, hey, we didn't even have a say or anything. Now forcing everybody to do that. I don't know.
I just think that people need to. I think it needs to be both. Like, if you're doing it one way, it must be done the other way.
One size fit all approach.
Yes, to me that's problematic. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us right here in the Village on 92.1 GB.
Hold on. The Village. I just want to commend you on making it here today, getting off of that plane and joining us. I just want to say thank you.
I just want to say I beat John up for the record. Right, we are dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, helping each one of us in realizing our dreams at any point, at any age, starting from today, knowing that success is not just spoken, it is done. If you missed the show today, join us on YouTube at The Village Talk Show. Type it in, watch it on your Samsung, and I do that, so you can do that too. Again, The Village Talk Show on YouTube. God bless you, and next week Thursday we'll have Scott Stringer. Is that correct, Andre? All right, so we're gonna have Scott Stringer. We talk about immigration and a couple others. So make sure we'll be looking forward to hearing from you. All right, God bless. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Happy Memorial Day weekend.
Be
Yes.
safe. Be safe out there.
All right. God bless everyone. Have a good night.
And Doc, I'll bring you some stew peas.
And thank you everyone for joining us on Facebook, on YouTube, and wherever it is that you joined us from.
And I'm holding you to that, okay? I want my stoopies, okay?
I want my black rice. Tell your mom, tell Miss Fia.
Listen.
All right, John. I just said we got to go. All right, later. Yeah, I get a chance to answer.